Hello, fellow planters. So, a couple days ago, I bought this Pacific Blue Ice Sempervivum. Good thing I looked at the spelling, or else I would have mispronounced it. And this was from Lowe's, and I found this, a Pilea libanensis. Some people call it a Pilea glauca, but since I'm Lebanese, it's a Pilea libanensis. And it's such a beautiful plant. They're generically known as baby tears, but I kind of remember baby tears from when I had an aquarium, type of aquatic plant referred to as baby tears. And then at Lowe's, I got this African violet. Look how big this one is. This was $3 on clearance, whereas this one here, I got a few weeks ago with beautiful flowers, and it was $1 on clearance. And you can see when the flowers start dying off and the leaves, you can always get good ones on clearance. Over here is a Peperomia peppermill, which is growing nicely. And that was propagated from this one here. And then I have another African violet. It's not flowering at the moment, but it had purple flowers. So I'm going to take leaf cuttings of these African violets, some leaf cuttings of this Peperomia, and over here the Pilea libanensis, and see if I can propagate them outside in a sunny area in the open. So the question is, will it work? Today is April 11. It's a beautiful spring day. Well, a little windy here in North Carolina, and we'll see if this time of year is okay to propagate them outside. So I have my trusty Corona pruner, and I'm going to do a little snipping. So I'm going to snip a few of these. They're going to drop since I'm holding the camera by hand, but I'll pick them up. They should still be fine. Oops. So I'm just snipping some of the nicer examples, and that one I'll snip it from there. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and make sure I collect all of them. And then I kind of like these flowers on the African violet, so I should try to propagate this one. So I'm going to take some of the leaves, snip them from under there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and snip a few leaves from the 3 African violets, and we'll go ahead and pot them outside and see how well they look. But aren't these flowers beautiful, especially that one there? Check it out. Ain't she a beaut? So this is my current propagation area outside, and I have this cage to keep squirrels from digging up the plants. Those creatures are very menacing. So on this side, you can see I have some carnivorous plants. And you can see those 2 pitcher plants in the back, these Sarracenia, they've been in those pots for like a couple years. Over here, the peat moss, the 3, 6, 9, 12, the 18 cells over there. I put some Sarracenia seeds last fall. I haven't seen any sprout. And here I'm trying to grow sphagnum moss. And then I just have a bucket of stuff to try air layering with wet sphagnum. I did a lot of cleaning up recently, and including replacing the mats or putting a fresh layer. Yesterday, before it rained, I propagated the rosemary in there. I didn't want the soils to mess up the green mat, so I put it in the pot without drainage holes. I also potted a bunch of mint, so in that extra space in front, I'm going to try planting those tropical plants, the African violets, the Pilea, and the Peperomia. And then here I have some other plants in propagation, mostly figs, and it keeps going in and out of focus, my apologies. Mostly figs, and I did clean a lot of the grasses, except on that side you can see grass growing with them, because some of these I had from last year. I need to put fresh stuff if things don't grow. So anyway, let me remove this container and we'll get to propagating. It is a little windy today. Now these, I tried air layering last year, but I don't think I worked the bark really well. I think I had to peel off the entire bark. So I might use these and try air layering again. And then this is a relic from some of the air layerings where I use a zip tie versus a twist tie, and I'm actually going to use that to punch the holes. The mint, I just cut some fresh mint yesterday and just stuck them 4 to a cell, and they'll root really easily. They're wilted a little bit, but we had good rain yesterday and they should survive. Mint is very easy to propagate and they can handle drier conditions. Now, with the African violets, I have these 4 that came from the purple one that didn't have any flowers. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the zip tie to poke a hole and just stick them in there. Oh, and I just broke this one, as you can see. Nevertheless, I'm gonna make a better hole and just stick it in there. Hopefully that trauma will make it root a little higher. If not, no biggie. I could do 4, 4, 4, but then I won't have enough cells for some of the other plants, and all I'd have are African violets. So I'm gonna just do a few here, and hopefully they'll still be okay. And this is experimental to see if they can handle being outside under bright sunlight most of the day and still root. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this. Okay, these 4 are from that really huge pink one. So I'm going to take the larger leaves. Wow, this wind. I'm going to take the larger leaves and stick them towards the back. I should turn them that way towards the sun. But because these leaves are huge, I'm actually going to probably just put 2 of these in each one. Just because I think I should still have enough space. And I'm angling them towards the southwest. I just want to make sure that they're going to be okay. Then these are the... Oh no, sorry, that was the pink and purple one. These are the pink one. And I actually found this one was broken and sitting underneath, starting to rot. I pruned it and see if that will grow. This one was already rotten, so I'm just going to do a little bit of trauma there and see if that will grow too. So I'm going to put this one, make a large slit. Zip ties are a little flimsy, but they're really good at this task, So it's kind of impressive. So I'm just going to do that way. And then, so these are the 2 distressed leaves, and we'll see if they take or strike, depending on what terminology you want to use. So it may not rain all week, which will make the experiment a lot more interesting because this soil is really wet. But if we don't get any rain all week, it may rain a little bit, but it's a low chance of rain. Oh, I had an extra leaf. So there's a low chance of rain on Wednesday. But anyway, if it does rain, that will be good for these. If it doesn't, we'll see how well these handle under the drier conditions outside versus in a humidity dome. Then the peperomia leaves. Let me stick them there. Now, even though peperomia like drier conditions, that does not apply when you are trying to propagate them. And a lot of plants still get like water roots. So when you propagate them, the roots they develop can handle the moisture. And then once they get grown in a regular pot, or get bigger, they can't handle the moisture, and then like drier conditions versus being sitting in water. So anyway, that's one thing I'm doing, is gonna just not worry, because if it gets dry, the ground gets drier, and that promotes the roots to grow and lengthen. And I understand that the Pileas can spread really easily. So I wonder if I should put 1 to a pot. I have 5 pots remaining. I have these Peperomia stems where I cut the leaves, and I'm really seriously thinking about planting them. And then I have, just to see if they'll grow. So far I haven't had any grow, and then I have 4 of these. So I'm going to see, the darker section is the top, so I'm going to just stick these in here, and I'll see if they grow or not shrivel up. So it's going to be a fun experiment, especially with the stress of being in direct sunlight, but at least without leaves, hopefully, and without, even though the top's broken, hopefully they will not lose a lot of water. So now we'll get to the Pilea, and if I grow it flat on the ground, it could probably spread and form several new plantlets growing up there. So I'm just going to stick that in there, put that in, bury this, like that. I should have had a longer stem just to make sure it's stuck, but I could always put a piece of bark there just to keep it pressed down. And I can do the same, whoops, stay. And then this one. So if these do grow, it's going to thrive out here in direct sunlight. That's going to be good. Let's see if I can keep that down so it can spread. Press that in. Okay, so now I have these propagated, and we'll give them a few days, check back on them, and see how well they turned out. I know it may take longer than a few days to grow new plantlets, having the roots first and then develop, and then plants coming out of the soil, but at least we'll see if they stay alive after a few days, and if so, then we know this will be successful. Of course, I did pick some older leaves for the Peperomia and the African violets, just to see. I didn't want to just take up all the good viable leaves and make the plant not look pretty, but we'll see if these do strike and produce new plantlets. Okay, so it's 5 days later, and the mint is still alive. It's been pretty dry, and you can see that the African violet leaves are dying, but this one looks, I don't know, they'll probably just die. I need to water these. It hasn't rained much all week, so, you know, they're not doing well. But then you can see the Peperomia leaves died. The stems are on their way out. And down here, if you look at the Pilea libanensis, they're actually still surviving. The leaves have light burning from being out in the sun, you know, the harsh sun, but they're happy, they're growing. So at least we know that the Pilea would be easy to propagate outdoors in the hot sun, even though they don't want that much intensity. At least it's something that you can have it grow fast or root pretty fast, because like you look, oh, it will pull up. It's still not fully set in there, but I can cut this piece and grow it here to get two, and same thing there and there and there, and then I can end up with like a couple stems as a good way to get a lot more plantlets from these. Anyway, I hope you found this useful at whether or not you should plant some tropical plants outdoor to try and propagate without a humidity dome and in bright light. Thanks for watching, and happy planting.